Kim is here already.
Ah,
Hi, Kim.
wonderful, wonderful.
Hi, everyone.
So, Kim,
Hello, Kim. Welcome to Gift.
Well,
Kim-
thank you very much. Apologies for my late arrival. I've just had to sort out some technology this morning, which is quite ironical. I mean, Murphy's Law in full motion, right? So, hi, everyone. May I start?
yes,
Yes,
Kim,
please
I
go
just want
ahead,
to,
yeah.
I just want to explain
Okay,
you've
fantastic.
started a little bit late. The person who's following you is not here yet. So
Okay.
if they are also late, you just keep on going. Okay.
Okay.
But if they do show up, we need to be fair to everybody. We want to stay on schedule. So we may
Sure.
have to cut you off, but please start. But before you start your presentation, tell us who you are, where do you live, what you're doing. It's all
No
yours.
problem. Thank you very much, Jake. Hi, everyone. My name is Kim Phatoli. I'm based in Johannesburg, South Africa. I'm a tech entrepreneur, and I'm also part of the National Youth ICT Council. I'm part of the board of the Institute of Inventors and Innovators in South Africa, and I'm also a global shaper at the World Economic Forum. So my work involves a lot of working with young people, working with development, working with entrepreneurs, and it also involves collaboration across the countries in Africa as well as the world. So I'm quite excited to be here. I'm glad to see all of the great work that you young people are doing. It's absolutely inspiring. So from that perspective, mine today is to talk about soft skills, which is something that most people don't talk about, right? And I'm going to talk about 3 pillars that stand out for me in the soft skills department. That is, number 1, the pillar of self. Number 2, the pillar of working with people. And number 3, the pillar of serving, right? Because as you know, if you're going to be an entrepreneur, if you're going to be somebody who's out in the community, you're serving. Your work is to serve others. So that's my departure points, and starting with self. So usually when you grow up, people tell you you're good at math, you're so good at science, you're so good at agriculture, you're good at technology, you're good at arts, you're good at painting, you're good at drawing, but nobody ever gives you the guidelines that you need as a character, as a person. So nobody ever comes to you and says, hey, by the way, maybe you should speak up more. By the way, perhaps you should communicate a bit more clearly. By the way, it's okay to express your feelings. By the way, it's okay to express who you are. So we are boxed as these people that are skilled technically. And from that skill, we're expected all of a sudden to grow into full human beings with holistic views, holistic cultures, and everything else is neglected. So I'm good at maths and science, fantastic. Now you put me in a classroom, all I've ever known is to calculate. Now you expect me to speak to people who perhaps have not the same understanding I do as of mathematics or calculation or certain laws of physics, right? Or laws of mathematics. And you're expecting me now to blend in with them. Where do I start? My programming is that, look, if the law of physics says that every reaction has an equal but opposite every action has an equal but opposite reaction. That's what I understand. That's how I'm programmed to function. And you forcing me into the world without helping me understand how the world functions is actually a disservice to me. So you as a person, you as a developer, you as an inventor, you as a young person, you have to start with you first. Every skill that you develop, right? If you're going to be studying coding, if you're going to be told to study business, if you're going to be told, to further study mathematics or to further study anything that you currently have, you need to figure out, okay, fine, I'm going to gain all of these great hard skills. I'm going to be a great developer. I'm going to be a great data scientist. I'm going to be a great cloud practitioner. However, where does my role in any company, in any organization, in any part of society and the world fit in using those skills? That's the first part. If you can't master yourself, if you can't organize yourself, if you can't gather and build around yourself, everything else around you is going to be much more difficult. So I beg you, and I ask you today to focus on self first. And I'm going to narrate my story after, I brief on these. I'm quite late today, so I'm going to, make it very quick. So number 1 was self. Number 2, right? Focus on others. So knowing very well that if you are a technically skilled person, it does not necessarily mean, sure, yes, in school you can get 100% for mathematics, but it does not necessarily mean you've got a lot of friends. It does not necessarily mean you make friends easily. It does not necessarily mean you always work well in teams. You might find small issues. This person works too slow for you, right? This is us working in teams now. This person irritates you because they don't think quick enough. This person does not allow you to just have your ideas. And you might find that you know the answer, you know the correct answer, you know exactly what to do. However, you're working with a group of people. Number one, all of their voices must be heard. Number two, all of you are equal. Number three, even if you are leading the team, if you're the leader of the group, if you're the team leader, if you're the head student, if you're the representative of the student council, unfortunately, you cannot just have your way. You have to hear what other people have to say. And that's when it comes into working with teams and leadership, right? So even if you know that the answer to something very specific is as clear as day and night, you cannot stop everyone, override them, and allow them to feel that perhaps you are taking more of authority and spotlight than you should. Everybody has something to say. And that's where teamwork comes in. It starts with something as simple as, am I able to give everybody the patience, the time, and the attention that they need to fully express themselves? And I believe that all of you young people today are leaders, right? I believe that everything that you are doing today is building up that leadership platform. So it means that number one, you're going to work with other people. Number two, you're going to have to lead other people. Number three, you're going to have to work with different stakeholders in society in order to solve the problems that you are aiming to solve using technology, using the methods that you're using. If you're going to build anything of value, you're going to meet multiple people that have to give the checks and the passes of that particular product. So that comes in to working with people, especially close-knit. You have to have the self-awareness as well as the people awareness required in order to build something great, sustainable, and inclusive, right? All of you today, as brilliant inventors and innovators, you're not here for yourself. You're here for the greater good of mankind. You're here for the products and the ideas that you've had to solve a particular problem. So you've already shown an aptitude for leadership. That step you cannot neglect. Now, coming into my own short story, I'll check with my people what time I have left. However, I'm speaking about soft skills here because I struggled for a bit. Okay, cool. All right, fantastic. Let me make it nice and brief. I struggled with soft skills as a child. It was very difficult for me to keep friends. I made them very easily because I was very loud and outspoken and confident. However, I found everybody to be a bit slower than me. Now you can imagine as a child, all you see is what you see, right? When you walk into a classroom, and you've got all the answers for whatever is being taught that day, and you feel, okay, fine. Everybody's actually quite boring here. So I struggled for quite a bit. Until I got to a point where, I was now the head of the school, and I understood that, okay, fine, my role and my responsibility is to assist others and not necessarily look over others, not necessarily boss others around, not necessarily, extend my own authority. However, we are all working together and my part is clear and defined. So once I was able to identify my own part in any student organization, in any field, in any school, I was able to then properly place myself. So you guess what I started doing? I started assisting my teachers who teach maths and physics because I understood maths and physics very well. And I would see the textbooks and I would see how they're teaching. And I thought, no, there's a better way to reach the students than what you're currently doing. So I started substituting for my teachers, for a few years because I understood how my classmates and how my peers would learn material rather than what the teachers were trying to teach them. And it assisted quite well, but I also enjoyed it. So that self-awareness, number one, came in. Number two, the awareness of others and the ability to bring others in and appreciate other people, then worked very well. Because had I not done that, I wouldn't have been able to understand that we all have different methods of learning, number one. Number two, everybody is intelligent. It really just depends on what your brain absorbs and functions as at a particular time. So I was lucky enough to grasp maths and physics pretty quickly. I understood the principles very quickly, and I always felt, okay, fine. In the first 2 weeks of school, I understand the year's work. What else is there to do? And I was able to contribute in that way. So it wasn't just about myself and getting the highest mark in the class, but I was also able to empower my students and my classmates. And that was an amazing opportunity for me in school to do that. So that's part of soft skills, right? I'll give you another example. I like personal examples because I think we're all people, and usually what we do find is that, I mean, we've got a lot of speeches, textbooks and great texts. However, we miss the personal touch that helps us relate to people and understand and see ourselves in other people as well in the experiences. I think in the same period at the time, I used to be in a school that had about 16 kids per classroom, right? So 16 kids, very small school, very small classroom. And of course, the competition would be between me and someone else for the number one position, the top 10, which I don't really enjoy, but it was that competition. And then you had the average kids who would do 60, 50%. And then you have the kids who'd really struggle with formal education. But there was one kid who really touched me, and I really wish to see him someday. He struggled with everything in school, literally from language to mathematics, to arts, to natural science, to anything we did, except for technology. And he was brilliant with his hands. I don't know how, but he understood craft work before we were even taught. So anytime we had a project to build anything, anytime we had a project to shape anything, to design anything, his hand was brilliant, right? But when it came to other things, he was struggling a bit. So the teachers placed me with him to say, okay, I need to help him with the other subjects. And fair and, point enough, I did. And I got to see how he functions, how he thinks, how he reasons, and where this great gift comes from to just build anything from scratch. I mean, I remember, in technology, that if you're in school, well, especially in South Africa, we are made to build model products. If we're made to build model towns or model cars, or, we're given the material that is required, and we're made to build those things from scratch. Okay, so I didn't do too badly in those. However, I wasn't the best, but he was the best. His name was Daniel. He was the absolute best. He would build anything from literally nothing, and everything was always perfect. And that's one of the things that I realized, that, at that age, I saw that, okay, fine, I'm fantastic with the books. I'm great with the books. Look, I will be able to build you any business proposal. I'll be able to build you any structure, any strategy. However, there are people I'm going to still need to work with, and it doesn't make them less valuable that they don't fit into the system the way that the system requires. Because the system has also got its own limits. The system also has its own bridges and ceilings. So the fact that he did not fit in at the time towards whatever education system we had did not make him any less valuable than any one of us in that class. And I was so grateful that I got placed with him, because I got to understand that this person is brilliant in something. And the best thing to do, especially for the people around him, is to hone into that brilliance, and not necessarily covet or desire that, okay, he should fit into exactly what the system is in South Africa of education, the NQF and all of that. No, if he's brilliant at building products, if he's brilliant at designing products, if he's brilliant at engineering, if he's brilliant at designing, let's carve him towards that, right? And fortunately, I was able to convince my teachers to speak to his parents. My teachers trusted me because of my record. And when I said to them, guys, Daniel's not a problem. The problem is what we are teaching him. The problem is what we are trying to bring him into. They were able to then at least assist him to go to a different training program where he is able to then express that great gift and that great talent, right? And That required a lot from me as a person because I had to be empathetic. I had to be understanding. I had to be patient as well. I had to be patient as well, you know, because I'm coming from a perspective where I'm the top student of the school, I'm the top this, I'm the top that. I had to humble myself. And that principle has lived with me till this day. Humble yourself, work on yourself, recognize that every single person on this planet is valuable and has a gift, even if it's not something you see with the obvious eye or that is measured with the available tools. And if that person is you, I really want to encourage you today that you've got a place in this world, you've got a place of success, you've got a place of gifting, you've got a place of great growth, you've got a place of inspiration on this planet. So yeah, I think today that is my short piece. I had to cut everything very short because I was late. Sorry for that. However, when you gain your technical skills, remember that number one, we are all human beings. Number two, the planet only functions because they are human beings, and everything you build is a product that is either going to be sold to or solve a problem for human beings. So remember the human element first. Thank you very much.
Kim, that was excellent. That was absolutely excellent. It was an excellent presentation, and I can't imagine why you say you're not very good at speaking with people. So you were wrong there. The other thing is, I would love to have you come back. We're doing this again in April. We're doing this again in July. Come back, and we had to cut you short because of some unfortunate circumstances, but I want to hear the entire program. And even more important than me hearing it, I want the students to hear it. So can we, can I twist your arm and get you to commit that you will come back? It doesn't have to be April. We do it in July, we'll do it in October. We definitely want to hear the full story.
Jake, you don't know this, but I've got a very fine qualification. It's a PhD in arm twisting. So it's not a problem. But I would like to say thank you, particularly to Kim, and to close off your talk. One of the comments you made in the very beginning was start with yourself. Know who you are, know what your skills are, know what you like, know what you don't like, know what you need to improve, know what you need to learn. And with all of that, you can become very much of a useful team member. And I would like to say thank you very much for a very fine talk, squashed into some very fine minutes. So thank you very much, Kim.
And
thank you very much for your time, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here.
And everyone who's watching, and just to let you know, search the next few months. There will be the full talk later on. This is just the preview. Thank you, Kim. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kim.